We're with Doug Singleton from Town of Lee and Town of Lee Republican Committee. He's got a lot of action going on in the Town of Lee over the last few months. He's done a couple of really neat things. One of them was the
pet food drive. Keep folks down in Nashville, North Carolina. Very successful. We brought in approximately 10 ton of food, and we got Carl's Furniture to haul it down to North Carolina.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Because he's got trucks.
We reached out to him, and he came through.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. Who would have thought?
Yeah, who would have thought? But you know, it's a cause.
It is. It is. And
the people down there were devastated. You know, we saw it on the news, our committee, and we said, you know, we need to do something for these people down there. And our vice chair, Carrie Kasler, runs All Creatures Boarding and Grooming in Rome. And we said, why don't we do something for the pets, you know, down there? I mean, they've got water, they're getting food trucked in. Manna Food Bank, which was located in Asheville, North Carolina, they service 150,000 families. 150,000 families a day. And that's through 250 partner affiliates in a 16-county area. That distribution center was totally wiped out.
Wow.
With the hurricane. So over in a neighboring county, somebody loaned them a smaller warehouse, and we took the food down to them just to see if we could help out, you know, the pets down there. You know, they kept reaching out saying, you know, we need pet food supplies. So.
And how did the logistics work? I mean, did you have to let Carl of Carl Furnitures know well in advance?
No, actually, we had to tentatively had an Orgill driver volunteer. We were trying to ascertain a truck through Orgill, and just the logistics of everything, it was taking quite a while, and we needed to get this stuff down there. So I called Carl up, and Carl says, let me get back to you. Called me back and says, I can have a truck there the day after tomorrow. Well, we had nothing palletized yet, so we had to get everything palletized and wrapped, and the forklift there, and it all came together, you know.
For those of you just joining us, this is Doug Singleton, Town of Lee Republican Committee, and he's talking about some programs that he's set up for the pets involved in the hurricane down south, and with the help of some local businesses here. So as well, you said there was a blood drive that you folks worked with yesterday?
Well, some of our team helped out with Kelly Yavani down at Yavani Motors blood drive that they had there with the Red Cross. Also a toy and a toy and food drive too as well. So you know, we've got a lot of things in the works up in the town of Lee. You know, the main focus is to get good Republicans elected, and we'll be focusing and honing in on that as the months ahead come by. So we've got some politicians here that are going to speak today. One that's going to run for Congress, a former Assemblyman. So.
And who is that? Salka?
We got John Salka is going to speak here, and Joe Pinion's here. He's going to be a candidate for Congress.
Awesome.
We've got some shoes to fill with Elise Stephanik leaving. Some hard shoes to fill there, but
yeah. Oh yeah. But I'm excited to see who that's going to be. I think he's on speaker now.
Everybody, come over here. Hello. I don't want to leave that chair. Everybody over here.
Come on over here, folks. Hear us over the horns and the cars and that kind of stuff. I think everybody here is really happy to be here. It looks like we got enthusiastic stuff. This is a pretty good crowd.
Okay, it's ready.
All right. Well, I guess we're going to start off here. If everybody would,
somebody's got to hold the flag right there.
we're gonna, we got a flag over there. After the prayer, we're gonna do Pledge of Allegiance, and we're gonna play the national anthem. So if everybody join me in prayer. Lord, we thank you. We thank you for all the blessings that you've given upon us, especially in this time of need. You've come through for us, and you brought Donald Trump back in charge of our country. This country started, you brought the pilgrims here for freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the ability to own their own property and that kind of thing. And it's all worked out pretty nicely until the Britons decided that they wanted to be tyrannical and tax us to death. Then we had the Declaration of Independence, and George Washington made us a great country. We're in that moment again, I think, this time of the year, and we're only 2 years away from our 250th anniversary. And God, you certainly bless us with President Trump being in office, because we know that this is going to be a fabulous, fabulous time for our country. We know that there's going to be evil forces out there trying to do whatever they can to keep him from being successful. But with your guidance and your wisdom and your inspiration, we'll help him in all that we can. Lord, we ask you to watch over us, give us the wisdom, give us the strength, give us the courage to just keep moving on and overcome the tyranny and oppression that I don't want to say Democrats, the evil forces will bring against us and try to turn us into a slave country. We love you, Lord. We thank you. Ask you to watch over us. In the name of your Son, our precious Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, here we go. We got.
Wanna hold the flag up?
Hold the flag up. Here we go. Please join me in a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
To the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the unborn.
And the unborn.
You got that queued up for the anthem?
Stand by for the anthem. All right. Now we get to the speakers. I think most of you know that we had a resounding victory here in the Oneida County with Ken Rozier being elected as our county chair for the Republican Committee. So I'd like to introduce him at this point, and then we're going to go on from there. Ken Rozier.
Listen to the response, huh? Listen to the response. Thank you everyone for coming out tonight, today. The fact is we are surrounded not only by a great potential candidate for congressional seat, Mr. Joe Pinion. We have a terrific assembly person, John Salka, former assembly person who's here to join us. But before we get started, I just want to kind of let everyone know exactly what's happened. Bob kind of talked about it with the change in the chairmanship. But what was funny about it, and what continues to be funny, and I just want to make sure everyone understands this. Donald Trump went against Joe Biden. They yanked him out from under him and they put him against a new candidate. That's exactly what happened to me with Mr. Sobel. They stuck their own candidate in when Mr. Sobel decided to back out last minute. It didn't, can't hear it?
Just talk right into it.
Okay, fine. It didn't change the outcome. The people in this area wanted to change, just like they wanted to change nationally, and the people got it. And it wasn't a close decision, it was overwhelming. And the reason that I even bring this up to everyone is certainly not to look like we're mirroring Donald Trump's effort. But here's what's happened. It's that it just seems that things are supposed to happen for a different reason. The president turning his head at the moment that a bullet's going by it. The fact that he's been successful over the system when they tried to change it up on them. We did the same thing in Oneida County. A lot of people stood up and said, no matter what happens, we're going to have a change. And when they tried to move things around a little bit, we still said, that's not going to work. We still want to change. And now we have the change. But here's what's funny. You would think the game would be over after the election, both of the new chairman and with the president. But instead, we have the whole eyes of the country and maybe part of the world on Elise Stephanik's congressional district. Because the margin is so small in Congress, it's risky for President Trump to have picked her to be UN ambassador, even though I think she's a wonderful pick. But we have to make sure that we put a Republican back in that seat, or we took a step backwards, and we can't have that happen. Now, as crazy as this sounds that the entire election is continuing to go on past the election, but it's really only going on in Oneida County, because the congressional district, Oneida County was the heaviest weighted vote county in the last election. Our votes in Oneida County were up 20% over the last election in Republicans, and that got everybody's attention. Sun's about me. So the fact of the matter is that the way the Republicans have written the rules. Come on back and join us. The fact of the matter is the way the next candidate for the Republican gets chosen, it's by chairman of the counties. There isn't any kind of a primary. So right now what happens is that Elise Stephanik will eventually, after she's approved, give the governor her resignation, let him know that she's resigning. The governor has 10 days to then call a special election. The special election has to be held within 70 to 80 days of that 10-day margin, which tells you that we're going to have an election somewhere around April, perhaps. Maybe earlier, who knows, but it's somewhere in there. But this election above us is absolutely crucial to this country. Oneida County plays an absolutely crucial role in that election because we are almost 25% of the total vote going into it. So although there are 5 other chairmen, Oneida County has a very big voice in who the next candidate is. Now don't kid yourself, we are part of a puzzle that gets put together to figure out who has the 50 plus 1 to do the weighted vote. But as I believe it should be with all chairmen, I believe that President Trump ought to have the say-so as to who he believes ought to be running with him. I think that part of the problem we've suffered in our party upstate and here is that we don't have the synergy that we ought to have because we all have our own agendas. My agenda is to give President Trump the greatest soldier and a congressperson that he can have. So, I'll be talking to other chairs. They already want to reach out to me. There are a lot of people who want this seat besides just Joe Pinion. And we're going to be talking and negotiating and trying to figure out the best person to put in there. But I just want you to know that Joe is here, and I respect him for coming here because of his respect he's showing for you folks. And so, quite frankly, I think he's already a step up. But he knows, and everyone who knows me knows, that I'm going to make the absolute best pick of the people who are put in front of us. I think that's the responsibility that I have, and I owe it to you, who said from now on, we don't want business done from the top down, we want it to come from the bottom up. So, we have two great speakers, like I said. One of them is a good friend of mine. Joe is fast becoming a great friend of mine, but Mr. John Salka has served as an assemblyman in the 21st District, 121st District. And anyone who knows John knows that he is not only salt of the earth, but he was a absolutely solid supporter of Brandon Williams, a solid supporter of President Trump, and I keep waiting for him to tap me on the shoulder and tell me he's running for something someday so I can support him. John Salka.
No pressure, John.
No pressure at all. I'm used to it. Ladies and gentlemen, the past couple weeks has seen something that we never thought, or a lot of people thought, wasn't possible. But now we have hope. And I'll tell you a story that I heard in church this morning. The pastor gave this great analogy. There were two buckets. It was an experiment that was done. And they put a mouse in each bucket with water. And they put a lid over one of the buckets, and they left the other bucket open. You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
IQ.
The mouse that was in the bucket with the top on it swam around for about an hour, okay, and then just kind of gave up and drowned. The mouse in the bucket without the top saw something, obviously more than what was there at the top. And that mouse lived for a day until they finally took it out and let it go about its way. The point we're trying to make was that when you know you have hope, when you know you have freedom, when you know you have the ability to see that there is a way out, you keep on going. You keep on fighting. And in the past 4 years, there are many people who felt there was no way out of this. And then when we saw the shenanigans that the Democrats did, throwing Joe Biden out, putting Kamala Harris in, we thought, wow, this is really trouble. But we kept that hope. We kept it alive. We kept the hope that someday this country will be the great country that it is and once was. That the hope that you don't have to worry about your sons and your daughters being in a locker room with somebody of the opposite sex. The hope that an economy can rebound, that people can live with prosperity again, that people will be judged on their merit and not some box that they check off. So now we have hope. But along with that hope comes vigilance. Because believe me, everybody here knows the left is not going to give up. This has gone way too easy. So the fight has to continue. In fact, we have to fight even harder now than ever. Because now we finally have someone with some vision in our nation's capital. Someone who will help guide this country. Someone who will keep us out of war. Someone who will give us a better economy. We've got it now, ladies and gentlemen. And we actually have a Senate and a House of Representatives of the same party. This is an amazing circumstance. Amazing circumstance. That's why we need to keep that House and keep it strong. Another quick story. About 2 years ago, I was in a place in Albany called the Fort Orange Club. It's where a lot of local politicals go. There's fundraisers there and all that. And I met this young man who I knew from television, a guy by the name of Joe Pinion. And I said, I got to talk to this guy. So we had a great conversation there in the bowels of Albany. And I said, this guy knows his stuff. I like this guy. So we didn't see each other again for a little while, a year or two. Then I saw him again, and we got talking again. He had another interesting conversation. And when I heard that he was interested in running, I actually kind of was hoping he'd run for governor. But when I heard he's running to replace Elise Stephanik, I said, this is going to be a good race. So it was with my utmost amount of pride and honor to be able to introduce Joe Pinion, who's throwing his hat in the ring for the 21st Congressional District. Mr. Pinion, the floor is yours.
Well, look, here we are. Here we are. I am filled with so much faith. I always tell people wherever I go that one of the greatest gifts I ever had in life was a grandmother that put the Bible in my crib, put the fear of God in my spirit. And truly, certainly those of you who know me know that we ran across this state like we had no tomorrow in the hopes that we would see President Trump enter the White House again to take that oath, to stand before as the leader of the free world. But they had your moments of doubt. Not because you didn't believe in him, not because you didn't believe in us, but because there was a belief that the pillars of our democracy perhaps were coming undone. That perhaps they had succeeded in pulling the wool over the eyes of so many people that they could not see the treachery that was being brought to their front door as joy. Well, my Bible told me that joy cometh in the morning, and Tuesday, November 5th, we saw joy, real joy, return to the United States of America. Yes, obviously, the news is out. Congresswoman Stephanik has been tapped by President Trump to be his voice, the tip of the spear at the UN, an organization that has been overrun by anti-Semitism, an organization that has been overrun by those who do not believe in freedom, don't believe in the America as we know it. And so I want to be respectful of the fact that certainly she still has work to do in Congress. All the work that she has done on behalf of North Country and Central New York and Northern New York. But yes, I am considering strongly what will happen when that appointment does occur. And so I am humbled to be here. I am grateful to be considered amongst a list of many, many people I respect deeply for the opportunity to see what comes next. And so I don't want to talk about that as much out of an abiding respect for a woman that means so much to us, who's done so much for this state. I do want to focus specifically on the steps that all of us need to take as citizens, as New Yorkers. This is a state where we have a governor that claims that she represents all the people, and then said that any single person that voted for Donald J. Trump was un-American. The same governor who said that apparently children that look like me don't even know what a computer is. But apparently these are the people that believe in diversity and equity and inclusion, whatever that nonsense means. We had a woman in Kamala Harris who didn't seem to know that 1 + 1 does not equal 3, who spent $1 billion paying people like Oprah and all types of celebrities to end up $20 million in debt and watch Donald J. Trump win every single swing state in this union. But as you have seen from some of the people that are driving by, they have not learned the lesson. They are still trying to call their neighbor evil. And so I have told people they can lean on all the isms. They're going to call it racism. They're going to call it fascism. We're going to give them a baptism in humility. So we have to remember the fire that President Trump had to go through to get back to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. The fact that but for the grace of God, the turn of a head, that not only would he not be here drawing breath, but we might not have a country. And so you remember that phrase that we are truly gathered here for such a time as this, according to his purpose. Because truly it is an act of God, not an act of Congress, that's got to save this country.
That's right.
There were 51 members of U.S. intelligence, former U.S. intelligence, that told the whole country that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation when the FBI had authenticated it 11 months prior. The director of the FBI went before Congress after a bullet damn near took off President Trump's head and told people that perhaps he was not hit by a bullet but shrapnel. You have to remember that the current Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, back when he was working for his buddy, Joe Biden, called up the deputy director of the CIA. And then out of that phone call came the letter from the 51 members of former U.S. intelligence to lie to every single American citizen in the world. And so what President Trump is up against is more than people driving down this street with their middle finger up in the air. He is up against a complex that is doing everything humanly possible to make it impossible for him to restore the freedoms that we love. And so I'm excited for the fact that my buddy Tom Homan is getting ready to lead the greatest deportation effort the world has ever seen. I'm excited about the fact that we're going to have those 2 million people that crossed our border illegally, state of mind, who knows, destination, who's to say, one by one, given a healthy dose of American accountability. It is not retribution, it is called justice. That this nation was founded to ensure that the people that call America home get its full promise. We, the people of the United States of America, in order to have a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense. When your child is going to a school where they're getting rained on in math class, but they don't know how to add, while people who have been here less than 24 hours are getting 3 squares and 300 thread sheets at the Roosevelt Hotel, and a debit card that's got more money on it than what you have in your savings account, something has gone terribly wrong in this country. That is what Donald J. Trump is going down to D.C. to deal with. The damage that they have done in 3.5 short years, that we are going to have to dig out root and stem. We've got a greater responsibility now than ever to keep applying the pressure to those who want to see Donald Trump fail, who want to make sure that we have an America in name only, but an America completely devoid of the values that this nation was founded on. When they tell you that you're at the wrong rally if you believe that Jesus is king, you can see the treachery that lies in their heart. When they tell you that there is no place in this country for people who are concerned about the fact that their children are being taught about sexually explicit behavior and materials, you know the treachery lies in their heart. When you realize every single day you have senior citizens who don't know how they're going to live their golden years because we have not invested in the actual housing and needs for our senior citizens, but we're investing in the needs for people whose first step on their journey to America was to come here illegally. You know the treachery that lies in their heart. And so these are the stakes right now. That most of the people that come to this country that are on the terrorist watch list disproportionately do not come across the southern border. They are walking from Canada into the United States of America right here in the state of New York, through Franklin County, through Clinton County. This is the reality that we're facing right now. That's why the seat that Elise Stephanik has held is so critical. That is why Democrats are going to spend an exorbitant amount of money trying to put that seat back in their column. We just had another race called in California while we were driving over here, down another Republican seat that we should have. We're going to have, once again, one of the closest majorities since World War II. The days of the 40-seat majority are over. And so we've got to get to work as soldiers in this army for justice, soldiers in this army to restore truth in this country. And I mean that in this most sincere sense of the word, restore truth. When the history books are written, one of the craziest things that ever happened in this election cycle was the fact that the historical record is now no longer sacred. We found out one day that apparently Kamala Harris was not the border czar, even though we had seen with our own eyes Joe Biden referred to her as the border czar, and CNN referred to her as the border czar, and every news organization in the country referred to her as the border czar. But apparently the joke was on us. She wasn't actually the border czar. We watched as news organizations pretended that the watchdog organizations that labeled her the most liberal member of the United States Senate suddenly scrubbed that entire report from existence. I went out and bought myself a full copy of the 1974 Encyclopedia Britannica series, and I did it because If we don't have it written down on paper in front of us, they will look you dead in your eyes and tell you it didn't happen. This is the next fight that we must secure. The fight for truth, literal truth. The fight for people not to try to tell you that the America that we have lived is not the America that existed. And so I'm honored to be here. I want to be respectful of the fact that it's a little bit brisk out here. But I want to encourage you to continue in this movement. Now is not the time to take our foot off of the gas pedal. We must put the pedal to the metal and get the work done. Because if you see how quickly they were able to undo everything President Trump did, to undo the Remain in Mexico policy, to pretend that they actually wanted a secure border, while they sued the state of Texas for putting up buoys in the Rio Grande, while they sued the state of Arizona for putting up shipping containers to secure that border, while they cried outside of the detainment centers, AOC, weeping at the wall for the children, and then lost 320,000 children under Joe Biden's watch, and pretended that we were tinfoil hat wearing lunatics for suggesting they might actually want to do something about it. There's something terribly wrong in the spirits of these people. But I said before, we're going to give them the dose of humility that they need. Humility, accountability. It is not vengeance. It is not retribution. It is the only thing that has ever allowed America to reach its true place. And I leave here, as I leave every place, with those words that my grandmother told me: if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I shall hear their cries from heaven, forgive their sins, and heal our land. The time of healing is upon us. But it's not because we're going to bask in the sun. It's because we are going to put leather to pavement and get to work. God bless you all, and thank you so much.
Well, thank you, everyone. You can see why Joe's going to make a great candidate. I mean, clearly. All right. Now, two things I want to do. I want to bring Jim Zecca up here just to make a little play for something we want to do. But I want to leave you with this thought. The thoughts that you just heard this young man, and he is a young man compared to me, are true no matter what age you are and no matter what seat. No matter what political seat you're running for. Next year, we're going to be looking to bring all kinds of new Republicans into the fold. We're going to elect new Republicans even on a local level. So I want to bring this down to my level because that's what I get paid to do here. I need you to spread the word that we want candidates who now believe that change is possible. I'm evidence of it. Joe, hopefully, will be evidence of it. And the fact of the matter is President Trump is already demonstrating it can be done. So I need good candidates going forward in Oneida County to make sure that we are on the same page. Reducing taxes, term limits, all right, greater transparency in our government, and the idea that there's a cause and effect between being able to run for an office and kissing the ring goes away. So please, I ask you humbly as chairman, if you know good people who now say, you know what, I always wanted to do it, but I never thought guys like me had a choice, or ladies like me had a choice, please tell them to take another look at it and reach out to me or to anybody on the executive team, because it's a new day in the country, and it's a new day in Oneida County. Thank you for coming, everyone. Jim Zecca now is up.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, fellow patriots here in Oneida County. You guys have been sticking it out since 2016. We've been doing this. And now we finally got President Trump back. Thank God. Thank God. We have a lot of work to do, as you heard today. We have a great candidate here. We have to help all of our Republican candidates, so we ask you to participate. We have a sign-up sheet. If you're not already on the committee, please sign up. Our sign-up sheet's at the table. If you want to volunteer, we're going to need volunteers for all of our candidates, especially in the congressional district. Sign up for that. Also, if you want to make a donation, we've got some hats left over from the campaign. If you make a donation of $10 or more, you get a free hat or a flag, and that goes towards our candidates. And many of them are here, Many of our town supervisors and town committee chairs are here today. One is here, Mr. Fort, right in back here. So please, get involved. We need everybody involved in this battle to save America. And we got to support our president from the top all the way down to the local races. So get out, vote, get involved. And thank you all for coming. Let's take a group picture with our great candidate here, Mr. Pinion, with the whole group out here. And I want to get a nice picture of everybody. Thank you. God bless. Oh, of course, John Salka.
Yeah.
Absolutely. John's going to be our candidate in the future for something. We know that.
Get in there. There we go.
And of course, in the background, the Fort Stanwix sign. God bless the patriots that fought for this country originally. I think we got everybody. Thank you.
Chris, you know our Christmas caucus. Do I get one? Yep. Our sister club. Oh.
Yes.
What day of the week is that?
Friday the 2nd. I know.
Well, basketball's coming up.
Oh, you're right.
We'll see.
You're right, yeah.
Okay. And you want it.
All right.
So Mr. Pinion's currently being interviewed there on WKTV, and you'll be able to see that later on in the day on the news to find out what he has to say. They're going to be talking for a few minutes. That was a really, really good speech. Definitely is used to talking in front of folks. I'm not aware of other folks that are in the running for that, but I would have to see what else Mr. Pinion's done with his time and see how he would fit in that position. But I'm sure we have a little bit of time to do that. Is there any chance I could just spend like 2 minutes with you?
Sure, absolutely.
Let me get you.
Oh, yeah.
You might run out of power, but
We'll make it quick, right? They reward you for brevity, as they say.
so I'm with a local PAC here, Political Action Committee.
Okay.
And I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes with you asking you why I haven't heard of you, and I'm not that experienced in knowing about folks like you that are out there in office. What has been your past experience?
Well, look, so I ran for U.S. Senate in 2022 against Chuck Schumer. We received 2.5 million votes. Certainly we came up short, but we did, again, have more votes than any other person who had run for U.S. Senate
when
in the
was
previous.
that?
That's 2022.
And so what have you done for us lately? That's going to be the question.
Well, look, I put it this way. In the last 2 years, I've served as the media surrogate for the New York State Republican Party. So we've been traveling this state, trying to support our candidates up and down the ballot. Certainly people might know me from my work on NewsMax, Fox Business, so doing a lot of political commentary out there, and then also traveling the country on behalf of President Trump.
What made you decide to hop into the ring on this?
Well, look, I think for me, life is about timing. In 2022, when I ran for U.S. Senate, I stepped down from my role at NewsMax because I believed somebody needed to send a message that what Chuck Schumer was doing to our state, into our country wasn't just wrong, it was an abomination. And so that is why I chose to go that path, and in the aftermath of that, continuing to fulfill the promises I made to people all across this state, that if they put their trust in my hands, that I would continue to show up. And so we've continued to go to the Lowville Cream Cheese Festival, we've continued to go to the Herkimer County Fairs, and the Montgomery County Fairs, and all the events to let people know that we still have to keep pushing for our conservative values and beliefs. And for me, again, that timing, we're starting a new life with my fiance in Saratoga, and all of a sudden, a congresswoman that I have a tremendous amount of respect for gets tapped to lead the UN on behalf of President Trump, and suddenly you find yourself sitting in the congressional district where you won 15 of the 15 counties, right? And so I don't believe in accidents. I do believe in some ways God puts you where you need to be for a reason. And I think that we're in the right place at the right time, and hopefully we'll be able to have enough of the chairs in this region believe in us to be the standard bearer for this upcoming special election. But we got a long way to go, and again, just humbled to be part of the conversation. Certainly, men and women that I respect have suggested that they want to be a part of this process. Certainly, we've had people like Assemblyman Chris Haig, a man I have a great deal of respect and admiration for, who's been supportive of me in the past. They've got people like Senator Dan Steck from North Country, and many others, right? And so I think for me, I would not be foolish enough to suggest that I'm the only person capable of going to Congress on behalf of NY21. But I do believe that under these special circumstances, for a special election, where it's going to be a 90-day sprint to the finish, and you're also dealing with the fact that you are losing a member that is the fourth ranking member of the entire caucus, the question before us is, who has demonstrated they can win the district, and who is somebody who can show up 4 months late for the job and still be able to be effective on day one. And I think that I think the reality is the only person who is saying they want to run that has even been on the ballot in all 15 districts is me. The only person that has won all 15 districts is me. We did it against a Senate Majority Leader for the nation. We carried over 60% of the vote. And the reality is, most of the members of Congress who are Republican, I've interviewed them on NewsMax. Most of the members of the United States Senate who are Republican, I've interviewed them on NewsMax. And so the ability to show up and not be a face in the crowd, but be somebody that they know, who you can knock on their door and ask to co-sponsor a bill to help you with legislation, I think is an asset that would be helpful at a time when most people get a 2-week orientation when they go to Congress for the first time. The person that wins this seat will get a 20-minute orientation the next day. They're going to hand them an ID and they're going to tell them to go vote. And so that's the challenge here. I think that some people in the race might not necessarily realize all those dynamics, but again, it is a long process. I'm humbled to be a part of the process, and I am cautiously optimistic that when the dust settles, hopefully I'll be fortunate enough to be the nominee for the opportunity to represent the district.
Awesome. Thank you for spending a couple minutes with us. Hopefully we got battery left. We do.
Awesome. No.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
I'm the town of Lee chairman up in the town of Lee.
Oh, wonderful. How are you? Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, definitely stay clear of that.
Yeah,
Here's your microphone.
you'll probably want to get in touch with me.
So we're gonna picture here too. Would you mind?
Thank you, Don.
Joe, how much time do you have? Because the folks want to maybe go to dinner.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
After school one day, a boy sat talking with his dad. He said the teacher pulled out a book, taught us all about the flag. About the red, white, and blue, and how each color was defined. While we stand hand over heart, pledge allegiance every time. His dad pulled out a box with a folded flag. Said, trust me, son, it means way more than that. It's more than a flag, stars and stripes. It waits for